Welcome to EMG Transformations with Dan Stoll. Each episode will empower you to ignite your inner fire and provide methods to maximize your mental and physical performance. You never know how one valuable insight can make such a big impact. Please leave a 5-star review if this episode leaves a positive impact on you. And don't be shy to screenshot and share episodes on social media that you find helpful so we can spread the message and make the world a better place. You never know who may need to hear and the impact it has on them too. We're only scratching the surface. There's so much more to learn. Subscribe and stick around to manage stress, improve your health, and create lasting lifestyle changes. Buckle up and get ready to spark your transformation with Nova Fusion.
3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Welcome to EMG Transformations. I'm amped up to feature Aaron Walker. Aaron is an entrepreneur, mastermind creator, life and business coach. Aaron's mission is to help men transform their lives by leading with his core value, relationships matter most. It acts as the compass to uncover what they truly want in life and set goals to achieve success and significance. In 2013, Aaron was encouraged by his mastermind group to start the Iron Sharpens Iron Mastermind, which is a brotherhood of men focusing on developing the whole man, growing themselves, their businesses, relationships, and faith, driving generational change in hundreds of men and families. Thank you for joining us today, Aaron.
Hey, Dan, I don't know if I can measure up to that introduction or not, but we're going to have a good time today, man. Thank you for having me on your show.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. And it's your life story, man. So you did all the work, and I'm just re-saying it as well. So props to you and everything that you've accomplished, and it's an honor to have you on the show today.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So being the theme here, experiences plus mindset equals growth, I love to dive into those key experiences and struggles even that have shaped you into who you are today for our listeners.
There were 3 primary times in my life that really were pivotal in helping shape my mindset. One was that we were talking a little bit pre-recording about was I sold my first business when I was 27 years old. I started my business when I was 19, sold out to a Fortune 500 at 27. And I thought, man, this is going to be incredible. Like I went from broker than a convict, not having any money whatsoever, to being able to retire at age 27. And I thought, I can't even imagine what this is going to be like. And Dan, it was incredible for about 18 months. And then after that, I became extremely bored. I was getting in the bed in the middle of the day. I'm an early riser, so taking a nap's off the table for me, much less getting in the bed. And my wife woke me up one day and she said, listen, this is not what I signed up for. You've gained 50 pounds in 18 months. You're not doing anything meaningful or purposeful. And this is not what I signed up for. And I'm like, wow. I need to rethink this. And so I went back, bought the company I started with when I was a teenager, and then reoriented my focus to have another level of success. And so just the first thing that really shaped me was that. The second thing that really had a more profound impact on me, and if you want to, we can break this down. We had a really, really good business. I was working 3 days a week. My partner was working the other 3 days, and we did that for about a decade. And then I had gone to my church. That was a Wednesday morning. It was August 1st, 2001, now almost 24 years ago. And we prayed for our family, for our church, for each other. About 5 men got together every single Wednesday morning, and we did that at our church for years and years. Well, that day was no different. Until I headed to the office, and it was about 7:30. I was about a mile from my office, and I ran over and killed a pedestrian that was crossing the street to catch a local bus. And from that moment forward, it took me about 5 years, Dan, to kind of work through that. Wasn't my fault. I wasn't doing anything wrong. He just didn't see me, ran out in front of me. And he lived 3 days in the Vanderbilt trauma unit here in Nashville, Tennessee, where I live. And then they called me on a Saturday morning about 9:30, and they said, Mr. Walker, they told us here at the hospital to let you know Enrique's condition, and he didn't make it. And it was just a pivotal moment for me, Dan. And if you want to, we can kind of break that down. We can kind of talk through exactly what I discovered as a result of that.
Yeah, I mean that's something that we can never expect for or something that we see coming in life and when it happens, it happens and we have to deal with it. So,
Yeah.
I mean, how did that really fundamentally change you and your perspective on life after that?
It's a good question. What I had realized over that 5 year period, I literally sold the business. I took 5 years off. We changed locations here in Nashville. Robin and I built another house to kind of reorient my focus and keep me busy for a period of time. I met with counselors, with my pastor, with my good friends. It was traumatic, needless to say. And what at the end of the day I came out with is that I had had a level of success financially over the course of my life, and God was really good to us because I said earlier, I came from a very broke childhood. My dad was a general carpenter, and my mom worked at our church, and we just didn't make any money, and so we lived in like a 600 square foot house when I was a kid. There were 4 kids and 2 adults in that house, and so my dad probably never made over $15,000 a year in his life. So I knew what it was like to be broke and not have anything. Well, to go from that, starting my own business at 19 and then selling to a Fortune 500, needless to say, it was kind of culture shock. It was like, wow, like now I've got to manage this. And, it wasn't an exorbitant amount, but it was enough that, I really didn't have to work again. And so going from being broke to that was a real transition. Well, what I discovered in the automobile accident, which was, years later, from the time I was 27 when I sold out till I was 40 when I had the automobile accident, I'd owned another business that was very successful. We had a vacation home. We had all the toys. We had a beautiful house up on top of a hill, all the things. And what I discovered is that I didn't have any significance. I had a great measure of success, but I thought if I had been killed that day, what would people have said about me? And it would have been poor kid from Nashville, Tennessee, makes enough money to retire at age 27 and nobody cares. And I was like, wow, that is not what I want people to remember. I want to leave a legacy of some kind. I want people to say, hey, everybody calls me Big A. And what I wanted people to say is, hey, because of Big A, my life is transformed and I'm a different person and I'm better off by having known him. But people wouldn't have said that. All they would have remembered is I made a little bit of money. And so because of that, it reoriented my focus. I even wrote a book not terribly long ago called View from the Top, How to Live a Life of Success and Significance. And so today I've devoted the remainder of my life helping other entrepreneurs achieve that level of success and significance in their life.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful mission that turned out of an unfortunate circumstance. And I'm curious, when you talk about significance, what were some of those steps that you started taking during that 5 years and even after that 5 years of processing that experience? Where did you start to find that significance in your life?
Yeah. What I've discovered is primarily most success is inward focused. We have tangible possessions. We have kind of a nest egg that we can rely on and depend on, which is elusive, needless to say, but it's this the way we think. We have a beautiful home and, we have things like, don't get me wrong. I don't like it when people say money's not important, because money is important. It's very important, but it doesn't need to be God. It doesn't need to be the sole focus of what you're doing. Money is a tool and it needs to be used that way. And so I want to continue to make money because I like the things it can do for us. It can provide a nice living, take nice vacations. We can give money away. We can do things that are incredible with money, and broke people can't help people financially. So making money is a good thing, but if it's our sole focus, it can really get us in trouble. It's these aspirations of more. Just give me a little bit more, just another 50,000, 100,000, another location, just help me scale to, this higher level. And that's never ending. And we've got to learn a sense of contentment. We've got to be able to go, no, I'm in a good spot. But if I scale and I do better, these are some of the aspirations that I can do. I can help other people on their journey. And what I discovered through a life of significance, it's historically focused on others, the significance piece. What is it you can do for your family, for your, colleagues and friends? What is it that you can do for extended family? There's orphanage compassion that we're big believers in, and love to sponsor children in other third world countries that can't afford anything. I'm a huge proponent in giving 10% of my gross income to the local church that I serve at and have for 30 years. So there's amazing things that we can do as a result of being successful financially that transforms lives of other people that then becomes significance. And so I want to be that guy that, yes, I did well for my own self and for my family, but I impacted other people's lives.
And that really aligns with this podcast, actually, because when I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease back in 2016, this was just a rapid experience for me that just kept on progressing worse and worse. And it got to the point where I was diagnosed weeks before my senior year. I was homebound that entire senior year. And then 4 days after graduation, I had the first of 2 surgeries that removed my entire colon. And so all of this is happening really fast, and it's a lot to process, similar with you. And what I found is that, going through this experience with my illness, I had to go through some of the darkest days in my life and some of the most vulnerable and insecure experiences that I thought I would never share with the world, and let alone with the closest people in my life. And over time, through sharing my story, I felt this sense of empathy and obligation for those in similar situations. And it started to take off all of that pressure and insecurities that I was feeling about sharing it. And it took all of that away from me, and it was going to those other people now and how I'm impacting and helping them. And I can be sharing, the most uncomfortable thing about Dan personally, but it's never about Dan. And so that's always been the view that I share my story with now. And that's why I even have this podcast of sharing other stories of resilience and adversity. And yeah, it was tough. Your situation was tough, but you were able to bounce back and help others as well and create an impact. And, if I can do it, if you can do it, the listeners, we're all battling something behind the scenes, and whatever they're going through, I want this podcast and just what we're doing here today to give them hope that they can overcome those obstacles that they're facing in their life. So you sharing that and you sharing how you're turning that pain into purpose, it's really just a testimony that, hey, if Dan can do it, if Aaron can do it, I can do it. And that's the message that I want to hammer home today.
Yeah. Dan, let's dive into that just a little bit deeper, because I think it is an important mindset to have around this. I didn't see what the good was going to be at the current time, right? Obviously, when the police got there, the ambulance got there, the fire trucks, they stopped 4 lanes of traffic, it was like I was devastated. Yeah. And there's an individual, 77 years old, he's laying face down in the middle of ongoing traffic and motionless. And I'm like, what in the world? And I identified myself as the driver of the vehicle, and they took me back, put me in the back of a police car. And I had to sit back there for about an hour while they investigated. They interviewed eyewitnesses to the accident. And he finally came back. Well, I'm shaking, like physically shaking. I'm a nervous wreck and didn't know the condition at the time. And when the policeman came back and he told me, he said, he's critically injured. I said, is he dead? And they said, no, he's not, but he's not doing well at all. And so at this time, everything's going through my mind. I'm going to go to prison, right? I've run over somebody's husband, somebody's dad. All these thoughts are going through my mind, and I'm devastated. like literally devastated. So I didn't see anything good currently. And that's what I want to share with your listeners today. You may be going through a very bad time emotionally, mentally, physically. There could be a relationship devastation. There could be financial devastation that you've gone through right now. And right now, you don't see anything possibly that could be good out of this. But there's going to be somebody later that you're going to be able to help. And the really important part is how you handle this. Like you could get in the fetal position, get underneath your desk and never come out and get in your bedroom. It's like, I don't want to see anybody. That's not going to serve anybody well, including yourself. About a year and a half ago, my daughter was diagnosed with a liver disease, and she's 37 years old, and it devastated us, completely devastated us. She spent 2.5 months in Vanderbilt University here in Nashville. They told us that they brought in palliative care, and they said if she doesn't get a liver in the next 60 days, she's going to be dead. And they transferred us to Memphis University in Memphis, Tennessee, and they worked with her and did get a liver. But during that time frame, this is about 6 or 8 months during this whole process. During that time, my life felt over. When palliative care comes in and says your little girl's got 60 days to live if she doesn't get a liver, well, and you see the horror on her face. It's like, Dad, I don't want to die. I've got 3 children of my own, got a successful marriage. Like, I don't want to die. And I'm like, hey, we're going to work through this. And through prayer, through encouragement, through the help of other people, counselors, we were able to work through that. Well, today, now a year has gone by since last August when she had the surgery, and she's doing remarkably well. Like the doctors have turned her loose. They say, go live a healthy life. You're going to be fine. Well, already she's been able to talk to other persons confronted with the same situation to give them a sense of hope. Well, she couldn't have done that a year ago, right? She was going through this devastating time. So I just want to encourage the listener right now, regardless of what you're going through, nothing is wasted. If you have a good mindset and you use it for the good and the significance of other people, I promise you this will be used to the good.
That is beautiful. And it also reminds me of duality. And in my logo, I have the yin yang. And it's that constant reminder that no matter how bad things may seem, you're in the trenches right now. There's a glimmer of hope in there somewhere. It's a needle in the haystack, but you can pick up that one piece and you can pick up the next piece and you can keep on going one step at a time. And you may not find it right away. It may take 6 months to find it, like you were saying. Like you're not gonna, sometimes it's just not visible and all it seems is negativity. But I promise there's something to come out of it. Every experience, we have an opportunity to learn and grow from it if we choose to, and we choose to look for that good. And having that duality and just that mindset of knowing that it's possible and it's there, even if you can't see it, that helps me and strengthens my faith as well to keep on going one step at a time. And you've mentioned a couple times now how your faith has impacted you, and you're clearly a man of faith. I'm curious, how long has that been integrated into your life? And as you're navigating through these uncertain times, how has that been the rock for you?
Yeah, thank you for asking that question. I don't want to miss something that you said. I don't want the listener to miss it because it's vital. It said that you chose to look for the good. See, we can choose to be the victim. We can choose to lay in it and not be beneficial to anybody. Then it's wasted. But if you choose to look for the good, then it can be used for somebody else's benefit. And so just be real mindful how we're handling these situations. The other thing is there's always somebody watching, either your children, your spouse, your peers, your colleagues, your business partners. People are watching how you're handling situations. And you can, at that point, endear yourself to others and they respect your leadership, or they totally dismiss you and disqualify you from being an influence in their life. And so it's really important how we handle these situations. I also wanted to add that we never learn through success. We only learn through failure. And we only learn in the valleys. We never learn on the mountaintop. And I want to encourage the listener right now, if you're going through a deep, deep valley, and you're very, very discouraged, there are going to be bright days on the other side of this. I want to encourage you and give you hope and let you know that there could be something even more amazing than you're experiencing now. You're just going through a very difficult season in your life, and you're going to learn a lot as a result of going through this difficulty. So don't miss the opportunity that's on the other side. Yeah. So I got distracted from your question. Refresh me on your question.
Yeah, no,
I
I
didn't want
appreciate.
them to miss what you said about choice.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And always leading by example too. I love that you mentioned that part as well because there's always eyes watching, and a lot of
Yes.
times those eyes, they're not going to tell you that they're watching. They're just watching. And so you have to just lead by example and know that you are
Yes.
making an impact. But
Yes.
yes, my question was about you and your faith and how
Oh
that has
yeah,
helped
good
you through
question.
those
Okay,
ups and
I'm
downs.
back now. You can't forget I'm 64, right? My attention span may not be quite as sharp. You used a really important word that I try to stay away from. You said, "How did you integrate your faith into what you do?" And I didn't. I didn't integrate my faith into what I do. My faith is me. My faith is what I do. It's not integrated, and I lead with faith. I became a believer when I was 9 years old. I was raised in a Christian environment. My mom was the spiritual mentor in my life, and I accepted Christ when I was 9 years old. So I'll be 64 my next birthday. So it's not a part of who I am. It is who I am. And so I give God all the glory, all the praise, all the adoration for everything that he's done in my life. And so I'm not a Bible thumping, turn or burn, preaching kind of guy. That's not who I am. It's just, it is my life. And so I lead with that. I don't integrate that. So it's first and foremost, it's above everything. Robin and I, if we make it till June, we will have been married 45 years. We got married 2 weeks out of high school. Robin is extremely important to me, but she's not as important as my faith. And so the prioritization goes my faith in Jesus Christ. Next is Robin, then my daughters, then my grandkids, then my business. And I try to keep it in that order. Now, I'll just be totally honest with you straight out of the gate, Dan. I don't always hit that 100%, right? I'm fallible. My pride gets in the way. My ego gets in the way. I get those things out of order, but that's the goal. And I strive to keep things in that order. And over the course of my life, I have ebbed and flowed in that. And I try to remain focused on keeping it in that order. And if we do that, scripture teaches us that God will give us the desires of our heart, but he also can align the desires of your heart with the things that are equitable for everyone that you're an influence in their life. And so, yeah, for those that don't know Christ, I would encourage you to at least explore that or get with somebody and see what it can mean for you and for your life. But yeah, I've just made it priority for me. And there again, I don't use it to, beat people over the head or convince them that they're wrong. It's not that. It's just that this has been a good path for me.
Yeah, I love how you mentioned those almost like value systems and your priorities, where you have your faith on top, and then your relationships, and then your business. And following that up, we mentioned in the introduction how
Mm,
relationships matter most is
yeah,
one of, if not the main core value that you
it
lead through
is number
life.
one.
It's
Number
the
one
number
core
one.
value. Yeah, we have 5 core values. You mentioned a couple of them in the introduction. Thank you for mentioning that. But we've owned to date, this is our 14th business that we've owned over a 45-year period. And I say that with the greatest amount of humility. I don't say that to boast, but I say it to make this point is that if the relationship doesn't matter most, the business is not going to be successful long term.
Hmm.
We can focus on revenue, and for a period of time that will keep you energized. But at the end of the day, if it's not meaningful and purposeful, and you don't have a sense of aspiration to do things for other people, the money won't stimulate you long term. And the reason I say that is because everyone's different, but there's a threshold for the amount of money that you make. And once you reach that, your primary objective is met, whether that means the lifestyle that you're living. And then the amount above that is almost um, negated related to happiness, because more money doesn't make you happy. Happiness is a trait, not a choice. Excuse me. Happiness is a choice, not a trait. And so we have to choose to be happy. So money doesn't scratch that itch like people think it's going to. They're like, oh, I get 50 more $1,000 or 100,000, then I'll be happy. Well, no, all you'll do then is move the bar.
Right.
Well, if I just get this nicer house, and if I just get this nicer boat, and if I can just have this much in my 401, like, again, I don't want to diminish that or demotivate anybody from aspirationally achieving things financially. Just know the things it's going to do for you and things it's not. I've got a client right now that I'm coaching one-on-one, and I have for a long time, many, many years. And their business will do 9 figures this year, probably. Net worth probably will be that or exceed that, him personally. And 8 houses this guy owned. I mean, every tangible possession you can imagine, he's got it or has had it. And he feels sometimes like, I don't know what the reason is. Like, I don't know what the purpose is. But when he does things for other people and he's motivated by that, his whole disposition changes. His whole motivation level amps up, because now he's seeing that there's a higher reason, there's a higher purpose for this financial wherewithal that he's been allowed to steward over all these years. And so just keep these things in the right order. One thing, and I know this is not about this episode, but I want to mention this because I think it's important. If we're spending relationship capital to achieve our financial goals, you're going to end up a rich old person with no relationships, because you only get one go through, whether it be with your spouse, whether it be with your kids. You only have one opportunity to make a significant difference in their lives. And if you spend that relationship capital and you're not outside pitching baseball with your son or at your little girl's recital program, or you're missing birthdays, or you're traveling out of town all the time and they don't really even know who you are, yes, you'll accomplish things financially, but you'll find it was all in vain. There was no reason. And that's why that we've always focused on relationships matter most, whether it be personal or professional. If you ever take your eye off the relationships, you'll soon kind of perish in regards to that occupation that you're in. So that's why we made relationships matter our number one core value.
That is so good. And I have 2 questions on the relationships now. One from a professional standpoint, and then the other from a personal
Yeah, sure.
standpoint. For the professional one, I always love the idea of culture building and what goes into creating a great culture for a company. So I'm curious with you, you have over 14 successful
Yeah,
businesses.
sure.
What has gone into that culture process and building those professional relationships that
Yeah.
you have applied in almost all
Mm.
of your businesses?
Yeah. So the majority of all those businesses have been successful, but I don't want to leave everyone with the impression that all of them have knocked it out of the park. I haven't.
Right.
So there's been some and they're not so good. So just want to give clarity. It goes back to the relationship matters most. And like, I've had people work for me for decades in companies that I've owned, and they would say I'm difficult, but I'm fair. And so the culture that we've built is the relationship matters most. It's like, what is it that you want to accomplish? I've helped a number of people go in competition against me. And you're like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Because I had rather have 5 years out of someone that's amazing and help them accomplish what they want to do, is to have somebody haphazard for 20 years that have no aspirations whatsoever. And so I've helped people literally go in competition against me, even go to their physical location and help them set up their businesses. And they knew then that the relationship did matter most. It wasn't just what I could get out of them, but it was how could I walk with them, teach them, help them, instruct them. I had a business partner once. I hired his son to work for me, and his son was a jerk. He was terrible. And I went in and fired him one day after a couple of years that he worked for me. And my partner got really upset because I fired his son. couple years later, his mom died, and I went to the funeral, and he came up to me, and I hadn't seen him since I fired him. And he came up to me and he hugged me and he said, "You're the best." He said, "You were hard, but you were fair and you were right. And I needed to be fired. Thank you for doing that." You see, that's the culture that you can build when people know you really care about them. And so I coach people all over the world. I've had the privilege of coaching businessmen and helping them scale their businesses. And one of the primary things that we do is really focus on their lead team and the people that are around them, or their staff or their administrative staff. And I say, get involved in their lives and really understand who they are, what it is that they're trying to accomplish, help them achieve their goals, find out what their goals are, because it's not a one-sided thing. It's like, we're here to work together. Yeah, I own the company and I'm leading you, but at the same time, you're an individual, you're important, and I want you to accomplish your goals. And so we've got a small team now of about 10 people that work for us at Iron Sharpens Iron Mastermind, and they're an incredible team, celebrating years and years and years of them being with me. And many of them have had success in their own right as a result of being with us, because we're interested. We have aspirations personally, professionally, and spiritually for everybody. And we're always checking, are you accomplishing that, and walking with them, and how can we help you, and how can we network with you or give you resources? And like, it builds this phenomenal culture. If you ever have this disposition that, hey, I'm the boss, I own the company, y'all do for me, they're not going to stay with you long. And they're certainly not going to give everything that they've got to help you. But when they know you're equally interested in their success, they'll run through a wall for you. And so I just want to encourage you, whether it be your customers, your vendors, your suppliers, or your administrative staff, relationships matter most in regards to all those. And it'll help you build a very profitable, successful company.
That is so good. And, prioritizing the people and helping them achieve their goals and making it a collaboration rather than a lot of companies where it's like, okay, you're working for the company and we'll pay you and that's about it. That's the exchange. But yeah, you're making it different. It's personal and you want to help them achieve the goals and you want to understand that. And, you're willing to actually do the work and take the action with them. Like you said, like set up a business in competition with yours. Like you're willing to you put yourself out there and just make sure that they get to those places that they truly desire and want to go. So that really speaks to a true leader in my mind, the way that you operate and do that. That's something that I'm going to be taking with me as I go with my companies and just the way that I lead. So I appreciate.
See, Dan, if you have an abundance mindset and not a scarcity mindset, it makes it a lot more enjoyable, because a scarcity mindset says there's only a certain amount of business. But an abundance mindset says, hey, now there's plenty for everybody. Like, we coach men, and we have 170 men in 15 mastermind groups and in our community. There's 4.5 billion men on the planet, right? And so there's plenty for everybody. Let me teach you how to do that. I can encourage you. I can show you some of the things that we've done right, or businesses that I've owned. It's like, we built a company called the Master Custom Builder Council when I owned a construction company, and we got the local builders together. During the week, we would compete, and we would have people wanting us to build these high-end residence or small commercial buildings. But we built this industry to where we collaborated monthly and we shared best practices. And then we did parade of homes where we would sell tickets and give the money to charity. And we built friendships. But through the week, we competed for the business, but I knew who I was dealing with. And I knew exactly that they were going to be fair and honest and reputable. They were going to have to see me at the end of the month at our monthly meeting. And so as a result of that, everyone's business increased. We didn't decrease. We shared subcontractors. We bought in bulk together. It was beneficial for everyone that was involved in that industry. And so as you're thinking through your mindset, the listener today, think, what kind of mindset do I have? Is it a scarcity? Is it abundance? Am I trying just for success, or do I really want significance? What is it that I'm trying to accomplish? Is it all about me, or is it about our team and about those that are in my sphere of influence? And when you start asking yourself these difficult questions, it makes your life much more enjoyable to live when you're focused outward and not inward.
That reminds me of one of my core values, actually, is do the right thing and the rest will take care of itself, and put your standards over your feelings. And that's what you're doing right there. You're doing the right thing and everyone wins as a result of that. So
Yes.
that's beautiful as well. And so for the personal side of it, I believe you mentioned that you and your wife, you're approaching 45 years, correct?
Yeah, it'll be 45 years in June. Yeah.
Yeah, well, congratulations on that
Thank you.
first off. For the listeners and even for myself, I'm curious, in your experience, what makes a personal and romantic relationship last over the years as you continue to grow and change as individuals?
Dan, it's not easy, just to be honest with you. We've had our ups and downs and we've had our challenges. And those that are listening to this today, some of you have been married 5 years, some 10 years. There's different challenges at different times, and life can throw you curves financially, relationally. It can present health challenges that present a whole nother level of difficulty as well. I've already mentioned this. My wife is equally strong in her faith. And so for us personally, when we reach an impasse, we can go to our knees before the Lord and it levels the playing field, and we can pray. You can't be selfish when you're praying together. And then when you go to the Lord and say, hey, we're reached this difficulty, this challenges, what is the pathway? Floyd Dawson is a counselor here in Nashville that I or Robin or both we've seen for 20 years. We'll go and say, hey, we've reached this place and we need an outside perspective, or we've got a challenge, or I was raised differently than Robin. And like she sees it this way, I see it that way. In parenting, like I wanted to do certain things with our children, Robin didn't. We're different people, right? And that's okay. But when you're in a relationship with someone and you're raising children, I always suggest that you can debate this privately, but in front of the children, be unified. Like you want to be a force together. There's all kinds of marriage tips maybe that I could give you in regards to that. I think the biggest thing, and it's hard for me sometimes, is communication. I talk for a living. So oftentimes when I get home, I'm like, hey, I just want to sit here and watch a football game, right? I don't want to talk, but I've had to learn to go, like Robin wants to know all the details. I'm a high D personality. You just give me the overview. I don't need all the details. Well, Robin's very detailed and she wants to know, how did your day go? And what did you do? And I'm like, I did the same thing I did yesterday. Right. It's that, well, that doesn't go for her. She wants to hear how it went and what I did and what I'm thinking. Right. And so I've had to learn to give in regards to that. I've had to learn to go, okay, I don't want to do this, but she needs it. That's her love language. And so my love language is words of affirmation. Her love language is quality time. And so I've got to sit there with her and talk and share. And, I need her to tell me, hey, you're doing a good job, right? I appreciate what you did. And so understanding each other's love language, really is helpful. There's books out there that you can learn how to do that. I misquoted. I think Stephen Covey wrote it. Five Love Languages, I think is the name of the book. Maybe I got my author wrong, but maybe that's it. You can look it up and put it in the show notes. But anyway, finding that out really, really helps. But yeah, just serving each other. When we first got married, I was pretty selfish in some regards, right? Physically, I was a little bit selfish from an intimacy standpoint. And then from a time standpoint, I'd never really worked for anybody. I've always worked for myself. So I didn't like giving accountability for what I was doing because I'd never worked for anybody. I'd done it for myself. And so I didn't like some of those questions. And so I had to work through that. And I used to do things to get Robin's affirmation and she wouldn't say anything. And I was like, you didn't even notice that. She goes like, did you do that because I needed the help, or did you do that to get the words of affirmation? And the truth was I did it to get the words of affirmation. She said, well, if you do that because I need the help, you'd be surprised at how I might recognize it differently. And so a lot of couples out there are married today and you're selfish from an intimacy standpoint. And I used to be that way. I'd even get kind of angry if things didn't go my way. And Robin would remind me, if you'll focus on me and meeting my needs, you might be surprised what would happen in reciprocity. And so it just really helped me work through that and be open and honest with that communication. At the end of the day, Dan, the truth is that we need to be givers and not takers. And if we focus on each other and serve them well, it'll come back to you 10x.
I love that. It goes both ways. And we can't just always focus on ourselves. We have to be
No,
given, like you just said. And I want to touch, as we're starting to get to the fourth quarter
sure.
here and close things out, I want to touch on the Iron Sharpens Iron Mastermind that you have
Yeah.
right behind you there. Just tell us a little bit about that and the impact and the transformations that are happening in there.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I didn't really even want to do this, to be totally candid with you. 14 years ago, I retired. When I turned 50, I was like, I'm done. And I was in a mastermind group. A friend of mine, Dave Ramsey, had started a mastermind group here in Nashville decades ago, and there were 10 people in it. He invited me to join that group. And so we met for 10 or 12 years in Dave's office. And it really taught me the value of being in a mastermind group, having trusted advisors. And then when I sold the business, Dan Miller was in the group, and he said, what are you going to do now? And I said, nothing. Like, I'm going to retire. And he said, you're too young to retire. You need to coach. I didn't really want to do that, but I started coaching a couple of guys, fell in love with it, then started doing podcast interviews, telling my story. Well, as a result of that, people started calling me saying, hey, I'd be interested in one-on-one coaching. And I'm like, well, I can't coach this many people. And so I started a mastermind group. We called it Iron Sharpens Iron. As one man sharpens another, right? That's what we do here, as iron sharpens iron. And so we start, it's Proverbs 27:17 for those that don't know. It's just a really, really cool way to sharpen each other to help them accomplish their goals and dreams. And then Pat Flynn invited me to do Smart Passive Income, and we had like 20 guys call and said, hey, I want to get you to coach me. And I said, wow. So I opened two more groups. And so that led now we have, upwards of 170 people in our community from all over the world. And we've been doing it over a decade now. And so we started a community that is absolutely incredible for Christian business owners, people that are faith forward, family first, people that are decision makers. It's like, hey, man, how can I do what you're doing? And so, yeah, we've got a community that costs a fraction of what the mastermind does. And then we have the mastermind. We meet every week for an hour virtually, so you can be anywhere in the world and do this. And then twice a year, we get together in person and we really put on an amazing conference that's included in your dues. And so you get to come to that for free. All you got to do is get here. And then we do this every week, day in and day out. And it's for our month in and month out, I should say. But we help you level up being a business person and scale your businesses. We help you level up personally, and we help you level up spiritually. So it's just a phenomenal community that people have scaled beyond belief, and they're continuing to do amazing things in their personal and professional life.
Iron sharpens iron. That sums it up right there. That's perfect. I love that group and the impact, and it's the generational change that you're creating as well with the family and the
Yes.
ripple effect, because when you help one person, that one person helps the people closest to them and so on, and you don't really know the impact. You just know that there is a ripple, and you're just gonna hope that it's a good one. So
Yes.
that's awesome that you're doing that, and that's just continuing to grow as
Thank
well,
you.
because people definitely, like, we're here for each other. Like, we're not supposed to do things alone. Like, we're here to collaborate and grow together, and I think that's really the essence of humanity and evolution, is like we're
Yes.
constantly together doing things, and when we stray off and do things alone, that's where things get a little hazy for us. So I like
Yeah,
that you're
here's the
just
thing. Here's
reinforcing
the
that.
thing, Dan, is isolation is the enemy to excellence. And if
Mm.
you want to go further, you got to go with a community. You can go faster alone, but you can't go near as far. And when you're tired, you can borrow other people's strength. When you need resources, they're there. When you need a relationship, it's too late to build it. And so you've got to do it beforehand. Having trusted advisors that have context that can help you make decisions, being in community, that's the way God created us. And it's changed my life. Every week for 25 years, I've been in a mastermind group. And what little success I've had, I can attribute it to that community.
Wow. That's a testimony for anyone out there
Yeah.
to get in and check out Aaron's mastermind, one of the masterminds, because there's plenty of them. So I got one last question here
Sure.
as we wrap things up. If if today was your last day on Earth, what would be the final message that you would want to share with the world?
Today may be the last day on earth for me, right? We have no idea when that's going to come. We've got to live it like it could be the very last day. A friend of mine, 44 years old, just dropped dead the other day. I
Hmm.
won't call his name. Well, yeah, I can call his name. I mean, John Rulin, giftology. John was a friend of mine, and he went up to turn the shower on for his little girl to get in the shower and fell over dead.
Wow.
And he's 44 years old, and you never, ever know when that's going to happen. I don't think there's a single message that I would want to share other than uh, my faith in Christ has been paramount in my life. It's made all the difference in the world in my decision making abilities. There is an afterlife, and we need to be sure that we're ready for that. So, not to sound preachy, but I think the thing that we all need to think through, even if you don't think like me, is what is going to happen after this? Because there's no way this is all there is. And so, where are you going to spend eternity?
Hmm. That's a good question to think about for the listeners. Final takeaway. Thank you for that. As we mentioned the Iron Sharpens Iron Mastermind, I want to know how else we can support you and what you have going on.
Mm.
So, as we mentioned, plenty of masterminds here, so we will list the main link for everyone to check that out. But what's the best way for our listeners to get in touch and get involved with your world?
Yeah, thank you for that. The easiest way is to go to viewfromthetop.com. It's V with a Victor, like viewfromthetop.com. Fill out an application. It doesn't commit you to be in our organization, but it gives you an opportunity to get before me for about 45 minutes. And we talk through what it is that you're trying to accomplish to see if we're a good fit. So you could be a good fit for our community, or you could be a good fit for the mastermind. And we'll just kind of lay that out and see what it is that you're trying to accomplish and if we can help you. So I would love that opportunity. So no commitment. Go to viewfromthetop.com, fill out the application, and let's have a chat.
Awesome. Very straightforward, and I'll put that link in the show notes as well. Is there a place on social media that you or your companies hang out the most?
Yeah, for the most part, we're on LinkedIn and Facebook. You can find me easy enough to go to viewfromthetop.com, and all the links are there.
Awesome. Well, Aaron, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us today. You are driving generational change and impacting the trajectories of families all across the globe. You lead by example with your willingness to do the right thing, and the world is a brighter and better place because of you. Thank you so much for impacting us today.
It was fun. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you. Dr. Doug's offers the best organic topical balms for protecting, healing, and restoring your skin and life. Just twist off a cap, apply like lotion, and get ready to feel outstanding. My favorite products are the Magnesium Balm for headaches and Recovery Balm for coaching basketball or training for a Spartan race. But that's not all. It started with Dr. Doug's original Miracle Balm, a rejuvenating balm fueled with all organic ingredients, including beeswax, extra virgin olive oil, extra virgin coconut oil, shea butter, peppermint and lavender essential oils, and vitamin E. This one-of-a-kind solution is designed to tackle an array of skin concerns such as itchy dry skin, eczema, any rashy irritated areas, and much more. Now if you're bright and pasty like me, you may want to consider their Miracle Balm plus zinc as a natural sunscreen to keep you from frying up without any harmful SPF chemicals that are linked to cancer. Now do you hate bugs? Me too, but we got you. Try Dr. Doug's Bug Potion to repel bugs, relieve itchy bites, and kill bacteria so you can enjoy the great outdoors once again. There is truly something for everybody, including that little one in your life who is trying to tell you to get Dr. Doug's baby balm for their bum right now. And here's your chance. Click the link in our show notes now to enhance your life with Dr. Doug's balms and get extra to share with those who you care about. Take back your power and feel outstanding with Dr. Doug's natural balms.